As Sir Alex once said, you're just a wee club in the North East. And I'm going to say this now. You will never ever finish above us. You didn't in the 90s when you spent a lot of money, and history will repeat itself. We might be in the mud for the last, well, since 2013, post Sykes Ferguson, but we will finish above you. Your only claim to fame in the 90s was bottling a 12-point lead to us. And whether Newcastle fans like it or not, the Saudis are at your club to be successful. And I believe you won't be successful, and that will mean they'll go to pastures new. It doesn't sit right with me that they were allowed to take over a football club because of the human rights in their native country, which I think is nothing short of a disgrace. And you got Eddie Howe. He wasn't even your first choice. It was Unai Emery and another. You stumbled across him because nobody else was available. He's a stopgap until something better comes along. You're not going to achieve anything. Just because you come into a lot of money, that doesn't equal success. In case in point, Leeds United, they spent a lot of money when they had David O'Leary as their manager and Peter Ridsdale as the chairman. Their only claim to fame was reaching the Champions League semi-final, losing over 2 legs to, I think, the eventual winners, Valencia. They were then left crippled in debt and had to sell their best players to make ends meet. It was like a jumble sale. Pick and choose which player you want. And then they got relegated. And it took them 16 years to get back into the big time. So a word of warning there to Newcastle fans watching this video. And look what happened to Everton. They got in Mashiri. They spent £500 million. They bought a plethora of number 10s. And they came unstuck. And now they're in a relegation battle. And if you asked Evertonians, would they rather go back to the old format, being on a shoestring budget, rather than spending millions of pounds, they'll go back to yesteryear. Because that suited them down to the ground. You know? And I don't think they should have got rid of Sam Allardyce. That was the wrong option. They should have let him spend the money and have a full season. Because he saved you from relegation. Right? And they brought in Steve Walsh, who did wonders for Leicester. And then Steve Walsh left a year later. And Michel Brands was brought in. And he's left as well. So just because you've got Dan Ashworth, and he did whatever he did at Brighton, doesn't mean it's going to work. I think he's going to suffer the same fate as Steve Walsh did at Everton. That's what I believe. Now, Newcastle, you spent loads of money on players before. You know, the likes of Michael Owen and Patrick Kluivert. Right? And Alan Pardew is much maligned as a manager. But Newcastle fans need to remember this. He took you to 5th place and got you UEFA Cup football. He had a striker called Pape Cisse in up front. Your highest league position since the great Sir Bobby Robson in 02-03 when you finished 3rd. Short memories, don't you, Newcastle fans? And wasn't that under the Mike Ashley ownership? I think it was, wasn't it? Makes you think, doesn't it? Surely does me. And I know Newcastle fans will be coming on here and going, oh, you're talking rubbish. You don't know what you're on about. I think those examples I've just given should make you think a hell of a lot. And I don't think Steve Bruce should have got the sack. He did a fantastic job with your team on a virtually shoestring budget. And Eddie Howe's not going to change your fortunes. I still think you're in the mix for relegation. You've lost the last 2 to Chelsea and Everton. Imagine losing to Everton in their current state. Could never be my club. And whether they like it or not, the Saudis want to be successful. And if they're not, then they will go elsewhere. They'll go, we can't do anything with Newcastle, that's it. They want to win the league, and they want to win and get to the Champions League. you're living in cloud cuckoo land, because that's not going to happen, and you're also living in cloud cuckoo land if you think the owners are just there to spend money and get you to 10th place in the Premier League. If you think that, then you're very much mistaken. So I'm not worried about Newcastle. I have nothing to worry about. You know, us Man United will finish 4th next season. You won't finish above us. I'm not afraid of Newcastle. Why should I be? When I've got, you know, yesteryear to hold on to about what he did in the 90s. So I don't see any way where you're going to be successful. You're always going to be that wee club in the North East. The last time you actually won a bloody trophy was when Stan and Hilda Ogden discovered colour television for the first time. And I think that was in 1969, when you won the Fairs Cup. Middlesbrough are a bigger club than you. At least their last trophy win was in actual colour television, because they won the Carling Cup with Steve McLaren, and then they then got to Europa League final, eventually losing the final. Steve McLaren did fantastic for Middlesbrough. People forget about that. But he took the Poison Challenge that was the England job, and that destroyed his career. Although he did go to Dutchland with FC20 and win the league there. So Middlesbrough are more bigger than you. It's a natural fact. At least they've got to a final. Under Graham Souness, you only got to a semi-final. You know, in '99 when you got to the FA Cup final, we beat you 2-0. And Alan Shearer was nowhere to be seen. And the only reason Alan Shearer went to your shithole was because he put money over trophies. And I bet if you ask him, when the camera stopped rolling, and he's truthfully honesty, he'll go, I should have went to Man United. I made the mistake going to Newcastle United. You know? Your downfall has always been sporadic. Here, then, everywhere. Left, right, and centre. Big clubs win trophies. You won't win anything. And you can come back to this video and you can hold me to that, because that's exactly what's going to happen.